Okay, welcome to today's coding session. Let's get things going. We've done a lot of work on loops previously. We've been working about the continue keyword. It violently continues. It says abandon the current iteration and let's move on. Let's go. It continues in that way. So there is a sense in which the continue keyword doesn't continue because it doesn't continue the iteration. And we looked at the break keyword, and it's important you get the indentation of that correct. And we know what causes a loop to run infinitely. If you put something in the body of a for-in loop, which adds material to a list, and that loop is operating on the list, well, that loop doesn't have the intelligence to say, I'm not going to continue with this element because I am the list that added this element. No, it will keep working on that list. It can't distinguish between elements which it's added and which were originally there. So you'll get an infinite loop then. You'll get an infinite loop if in the body of the for-in loop there's something that adds material to the list that is acted upon. The very same list that is acted upon. We've been doing work on list comprehensions as well. We've talked about rex, the t-rex for the range function. Let's move on though. Carly's clippers. Use your newfound knowledge of loops to discover trends in the operation of the newest hair salon in town called Carly's Clippers. Here's what to expect. Check off the project tasks as you complete each one. This is not an exam, so you can refer to other resources to help you complete the project. New, you can get AI-generated hints when you need to complete a task. So let's click Start Project. Let's have a read first. Carly's Clippers. You are the data analyst at Carly's Clippers. And it's the newest hair salon on the block. Your job is to go through the lists of data that have been collected in the past couple of weeks. You will be calculating some important metrics that Carly can use to plan out the operation of the business for the rest of the month. You've been provided with 3 lists. We have hairstyles, the name of the cuts offered at Carly's Clippers. Prices, the price of each hairstyle in the hairstyles list. And last week, the number of purchases for each hairstyle type in the last week. And you can see them here already. We've got the hairstyles list, Bouffon, Pixie, Dreadlocks, Crew, Bowl, Bob, Mohawk, Flat Top. Prices 30, 25, 40. So Dreadlocks are quite expensive, 40 compared to 25 for Pixie. 50 is the most expensive price for a Mohawk. Have I got that right? Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Each index in hairstyles corresponds to an associated index in prices and last week. For example, the hairstyle Bouffon has an associated price of 30 from the prices list and was purchased 2 times in the last week, as shown in the last week list. Each of these elements are in the first index of their respective lists. Let's get started. If you get stuck during this project or would like to see an experienced developer work through it, click Get Unstuck to see, which is up here, to see a project walkthrough video. Let's start. Tasks. 1. Task 1. Carly wants to be able to market her low prices. We want to find out what the average price of a cut is. First, let's sum up all the prices of haircuts. Create a variable called total price and set it to 0. Well, I can do that. Total price equals, has assigned to it, 0. Okay, I have to tick manually, okay. Task 2. Loop through the prices list and add each price to the variable total price. Well, I can do that. For price in prices, colon. Which way? So I'm going to use the add equals operator to increment. I think I'm going to do price add equal to total price. What if I swap it round? Put price on that side and total price on the other side. Perfect. So what went wrong there? So you have to put the name of the variable on the left with this plus part, the handle part. Total price, add equal price. So this has a directionality to it. How might we remember that? Not make that mistake again. Price. Well, it's about it's the same story that we say with assignment. The same way that here we say total price, we're going to set that to be equal to 0, or we at least conventionally do that. Again, we write the thing that we want to kind of keep being incremented on the left with the plus, and price. Oh no, and the thing that you want to sort of add to it is on the right hand side of the page. Task 3. After your loop, create a variable called average price that is the total price divided by the number of prices. You can get the number of prices by using the len function. So after your loop, create a variable called average price. So I type out average price, and it's going to have assigned to it total price divided by len, the length of prices. Will that work? And then print average price. So print average underscore price. That seems to have worked. 31.875. Task 4. Print the value of average price. So the output looks like average haircut price and then the average price. So I can just modify my print function and say print average haircut price colon, comma, and feed in the argument. Cancel that. Thank you. Save. Perfect. 31.875. Oh, but it'd be nice if that was let's say it's dollars. I've forgotten how to print only the 2. Is it 2f? 2f dot. Let's have a look. Get a hint. If I only want to print 2 decimal places for a variable, how can I achieve this? So I make this an F string, and then I have to use curly brackets and then do average price dot to F dot to F. Will that work? I don't think that's going to work, because usually this this needs to be within the speech marks, the curly brackets. So if we put the curly brackets in the speech marks and put in the speech marks average price dot to F, will that work? No, syntax error. See if we can explain this error. So it looks like you've encountered a syntax error due to an invalid decimal literal in line 15. The error is caused by the incorrect use of the format specifier .toF within the F string. You should ensure that the variable average price is formatted correctly within the F string. Here's how you can fix line 15. Print this F string, price colon, and then it's US dollar average price dot to F. Oh, we need the colon. Okay, average price, which is the variable name, colon dot to F. Perfect. And now it's 31.88 as opposed to, I mean, if we just do print average price, then it's 31.875. So we've rounded it up to 0.88 pence, which is the nearest number of pence. Pennies, cents, which is good. Oh, okay, so that average price is more expensive than Carly thought it would be. She wants to cut all prices by $5. Use a list comprehension to make a list called new prices, which has each element in prices but -5. So a new list called new prices, and we're going to assign to it a list, so it's going to be in square brackets, and it's going to just be well, we need to loop over everything in prices. So we're going to say for price in prices, so we're going to take price, so price for price in prices, well, it's not just price, is it? It's price take away 5 for price in prices. Is that okay? Price take away 5 for price in prices. That's our expression at the front, and then just a for in loop here. Will that work? Now let's print the new list. Print new prices. I think that has worked. Yep. So 30, the first price, has become 25. 25 has become 20, and so on. Print new prices. That's task 6. Well, we have done that. Revenue. Task 7. Carly really wants to make sure that Carly's Clippers is a profitable endeavour. She first wants to know how much revenue was brought in last week. Create a variable called total revenue and set it to 0. Okay, so we're going to have a line where we say total revenue, and we're going to assign that a value of 0. Task 8. Use a for loop to create a variable I that goes from 0 to length of hairstyles. Create a for loop. Let's see. So for I in hairstyles, goes from 0 to length hairstyles. I'm not sure what you mean by that. That goes from 0 to length of hairstyles. I know that the range function can create a list. So instead of actually putting an existing collection here after the in, I can put the range function. But for I in range, what are they saying? Feed into range the length of hairstyles? Yeah, because but that doesn't make sense. For it to be a for loop, you have to have an action. You have to have a loop body. You have to do something. What do you want to do for everything in hairstyles? So I need your help with a task in this project. Sure, I can help with that. Please let me know which task you need help with and its current status. I need help with task 8. So it states, use a for loop to create. And here's the answer. To complete task 8, use a for loop with the range function, to iterate over indices from 0 to length of hairstyles, take away 1. Here's the logic. Use range len hairstyles, I did that, to generate a sequence of numbers from 0 to the length of the hairstyles list minus 1. In each iteration, I will take on the value of the current index. Here's how you can set up the loop. For I in range len hairstyles, you can add the code here to use the index I. This loop will allow you to access each index of the hairstyles list. Yeah. So what? Is that it? This is the thing, task 8 doesn't give me an action, and so I don't know what to put in the body. It looks like you've encountered an indentation error on line 23. Yeah, because I've just got a for in. This error occurs because the for loop on line 23 is not properly indented. In Python, the code block inside a for loop must be indented. You should ensure that the code inside the loop is indented. It is indented with the same number of spaces or tabs. Here's how you can fix line 23. For I in range colon. Yeah. In the corrected code, I've ensured that the for loop on line 23 is properly indented, which should resolve the indentation error. Keep up the great work. No, you've put add your code here. Okay, I'm going to say task 8 I've done. Task 9, add the product of prices I the price of the haircut at position I And last week, the number of people who got the haircut at position I, to total revenue at each step. So remember the variable name goes on the left, so total revenue is going to have added to it and when you say the product, you mean multiplied. So price is I multiplied by last week. Last week I, and last week is the number of people who bought each one. Will that work? Will that work? Looks like it may have worked. Task 10, after your loop, print the value of total revenue. Let's see if this has worked. So print, back to the beginning, print total underscore revenue. 1,085. That seems okay. Oh, and let's make it a little bit smarter. So print a string saying total revenue colon. And again, actually, let's make it an F string, and then I can change this to be curly braces and say total revenue colon dot to F. Will that work? Yeah, and now I've got that dot 0, 0, which is much better. And I'll add a dollar sign. Okay, task 11. Find the average daily revenue by dividing total revenue by 7. Call this number average daily revenue and print it out. So I'm going to do total revenue and notice how we got total revenue. So we said, okay, the price for that particular the price for that particular type of haircut multiplied, well, how many did you sell? That makes sense, doesn't it? Let's say you've got a $2 haircut and you sold 5, you've made $10, haven't you? And you do that for each of them, and then you add, and of course you're adding that to total revenue. So you do have to use this for in loop. You have to iterate over the list. Total revenue. So divide total revenue by 7. So total revenue divided /7. Or slash. / is just slash. I'm sorry, it's backward slash is backward slash, not slash. So this is a sort of standard //. Call this number average daily revenue and print it out. Average daily revenue has assigned to it total revenue divided by 7. So the assumption is there are 7 days, and the assumption is that so last week, obviously this is limited to last week, so that's good. If this was just like how many bouffants and how many pixies if we sold ever, then this wouldn't work, would it? And then print average daily revenue out. So print average daily revenue colon, and then average daily revenue colon dot to F. What's gone wrong here? Oh, you didn't put the little F. Okay. And add $1. Okay. Task 11 done. Task 12. Carly thinks she can bring in more customers by advertising all of the haircuts she has that are under $30. Use a list comprehension to create a list called Cuts Under 30 that has the entry hairstyles I for each I for which new prices I is less than 30. Lots to take in there. You can use range in your list comprehension to make I go from 0 to the length of new prices minus 1. Oh. I don't think we did length minus 1, length minus 1. It'll be fine. I think that was in the AI recommendation. Okay, that it talks about length minus 1. Okay, so use a list comprehension to create a list called Cuts Under 30. Well, let's sketch that out. Cuts Under 30 has assigned to it a list. It has the entry hairstyles I for each I for which new prices I is less than 30. Has the entry hairstyles I. For each I in which new prices I is less than 30. New prices I. Obviously we have a list of the new prices. So we might say, so we want for X in Y. We want some sort of for in loop, don't we? It's just the way it's phrased, the question. We want a condition. So remember how we do it with a condition? So we say action, and then if. Is that right? Action, if. If new price, singular, is less than 30. So we're going to call our temporary variable not X but new price, and then we can refer to it like we just did. So what's our action going to be? Use a list comprehension to create a list called Cuts Under 30 that has the entry hairstyles. So that's what we're having as the name. No. That's referring to this list name, hairstyles. Okay. So yeah, so that's good. So we name the variable. So hairstyles. But we want, it's a list, so we're not going to print the whole list, so we want a particular I in hairstyles. If hairstyles I, if I is less than 30, so we need to say change what our temporary variable, not new price in Y, the temporary variable needs to be hairstyles, I think. For hairstyles in no. So for or what? No, let's say hairstyles is the list, is the collection. So for I in hairstyles, if I is less than 30, for I in hairstyles. But what is the action? Use a list comprehension to create a list called cuts under 30 that has the entry hairstyles I for each I in which new prices I is less than 30. For each I in which new prices I is less than 30. No. And we get syntax error expected else after that if expression. So you've done it wrong. The if needs to come after the for in. So if I is less than 30, so it needs to be for in if I is less than 30. That's how it needs to be. The if condition statement goes at the end of the square brackets. And yeah, you can't do that anyway. You've got a type error. The less than is not supported between an instance of a string and an integer. You can't say this integer is less than this. This string I is less than 30. So it's really got us this one. Use a list comprehension to create a list called cuts under 30 that has the entry hairstyles I for each I in which new prices is less than 30. Let's see if we can get this error explained. So So it looks like you have encountered a type error. The error is caused by the use of a list comprehension in line 30, and you're trying to compare an index I with an integer 30. The issue arises because I is an element from the hairstyles list. It's not an index. Okay, I is an element from the hairstyles list, not an index. You should use the enumerate function to get both the index and the value from the list. Here's how you can fix line 30. So you can say in the list comprehension hairstyles I for I, comma, comma, style in enumerate hairstyles, the enumerate function, if what? If prices I is less than 30. Well, at least we don't get an error now. But I've never seen this before. This hairstyles I for I, comma style for I, comma style. In enumerate hairstyles, if prices I is bigger than 1. So style is a temporary variable then? Task 13, print cuts under 30. I'll be amazed if this works. Wow, Pixie, Crew and Bowl. Okay, but look at that structure. So we have the if statement at the end, if prices I is less than 30. That alone we need to pay attention to. Okay, so you can't say if I is less than 30. Right, what you're doing is referring to the particular element in the prices list. So you're saying if prices and then I in square brackets is less than 30. So if for that condition. We have the for in. We're saying for I, comma style in hairstyles. But instead of hairstyles, we're saying enumerate hairstyles in the enumeration of hairstyles. And that's a point as well. You have to put enumerate hairstyles. Why don't we ask about that? So explain code. So the selected code creates a list called cuts under 30. It uses a list comprehension to iterate over hairstyles, the name of a list, hairstyles, and prices. For each price less than 30, it adds the corresponding hairstyle to cuts under 30. This helps you to find affordable hairstyles. Why do we need to... Why do we need to use enumerate hairstyles and not just hairstyles? Using enumerate hairstyles provides both the index and the value, of each element in the hairstyles list. This is important because you need the index to access the corresponding price in the prices list. So here's why it's necessary. Enumerate function of hairstyles gives you both I, the index, and style, the hairstyle. The index I is used to access prices I, to check if the price is less than 30. If you only iterate over hairstyles, you won't have access to the index, making it difficult to compare prices. So because our if statement at the very end of the square brackets is saying if prices I is less than 30, we've got this index expression on the list. If prices I is less than 30, okay. So that explains, because we're using this index expression, it's just a temporary variable, but the fact that it's in square brackets after the name of the list means we're dealing with positions. Because we're doing that, we need to enumerate the things. So the rule is not actually that for a for in loop you just have after the in you have the name of the collection. No, you can have the enumeration of a collection after the in. And then I'm going to put tick here because we have printed cuts under 30. Okay, let's get a code review. And so purpose, your code successfully calculates the total and average price of haircuts, as well as the total and average daily revenue. And that's a really important skill, that, isn't it? We can calculate total revenue. First, declare the variable. Then we've got this for in loop, range, len of hairstyles, and then we also notice how we said for I in hairstyles, and yet we're using I to go into the list called prices, not hairstyles. But the I is the I we defined here, okay? Right, so we said for I in range length of hairstyles, and yet we're talking about I in prices and I in the last week list. So that you can do that. But again, with this idea of on behalf of, so on behalf of the first hairstyle, the second hairstyle, we are going to look at the position, the first position in the corresponding position. Okay, yes, so the fact that the I here is here, so that means for the 0th element in hairstyles, we look at the 0th element in the prices list. For the first element in hairstyles, we look at the first element in prices list and the first element in last week. Okay, so that's why we have to have I used across all of them. So your code successfully calculates the total and average price of haircuts, as well as the total and average daily revenue. It also identifies haircuts priced under $30. The task to create a list of haircuts under $30 should use new prices instead of prices to reflect the updated pricing. So we made a mistake. For our cuts under 30 list, we put in our thing at the end, we put if statement at the end. We said if prices I is less than 30, but it should have been new prices. So let's just change that, because remember we did a list comprehension already for for a list called new prices. Is the code easy to understand? Your code is well structured and uses descriptive variable names, making it easy to understand. Consider removing the redundant print statement for average price to improve clarity. What? Oh, okay. Ensure consistent formatting by aligning the print statements for better readability. Yeah. So sometimes I used a very fancy F string, sometimes I didn't. So instead of print total price, you should go and, which is here, we should really just make it a fancy F string and put print total price, colon, and then go and grab the variable called total price using curly brackets, and do dot to f colon dot to f. Is that good? Yep. Or don't forget the US dollar that you want to print. And also for average price, to get the average price, we do total price divided by the length of the prices. Remember, not by the price, by the length, the number of prices, len of prices. And so we should really print. Oh yeah, so we do that there. Performance. Great job using list comprehensions to efficiently create the new prices and cuts under 30 lists. To enhance performance, ensure that the list comprehension for cuts under 30 uses new prices to reflect the updated prices. So instead of, we've done that already. Okay, cool. Next, project complete. And we're going to end it there.